there, Virgo, and welcome to your April 2020 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kayleigh Jean, and welcome to my channel. I record these readings for artists, entrepreneurs, and anybody who is working on their personal growth, creative self-expression, or their spirituality in any way. So if those areas of life are intriguing to you, I encourage you to go ahead and keep listening. I also want to say really quickly that you can use this reading or any of the others in this series for your sun, moon, or your rising sign. And it's also possible that sometimes they may not make sense, especially in the beginning of the month. So remember to check back to this video at the end of the month. You may be really surprised at some of the connections that you see. That's a lot of times the feedback that I get. All right, Virgo. So the message that was coming through for you in the meditation is a very happy message. It's a very simple message, and the way that it was given to me actually was that my guide, who helps me with my readings, showed me like a big stack of books next to like someone's bed, like it was almost like on a bedside table. And it kind of made me smile because the first kind of thing that came through was I could almost hear someone being like, oh, and I'll just throw that on my TBR pile, which is, you know, an acronym for the to be read pile of books that you have. So this, I feel, is a metaphor. It's a metaphorical message that's coming through basically saying that you already have everything that you need right now, Virgo. And, you know, with everything that's going on, you may, as a Virgo, be kind of sensitive to the plight of the world right now, and you might be thinking in, you know, very practical terms. Your thought process could also be going like a mile a minute in terms of the way that, you know, this virus could progress or the way that it would affect society, you know, in the long term. You probably, you know, being ruled by Mercury, you probably have had a lot of thoughts going through your mind and probably have a lot of things that you've needed to sort of process, like mentally and intellectually, as far as planning goes and preparations, and really trying to kind of, there's a touch of doomsday prepper in the Virgo, definitely. There's like a touch of, you know, always looking ahead at what the worst case scenario could be, and that can be kind of hard. That can be sort of stressful on your body and on your emotional state. And I feel like this message coming through is like soothing, and it's almost like Spirit is just conveying to you that this may be the perfect time to dive into your to be read pile. If you have a pile of books that you have been acquiring, that you've been meaning to read, maybe this is your time to kind of dive into that. Maybe it's a literal message. Maybe it's also a metaphorical message for you, Virgo, letting you know that if there's any reason that you've been sort of giving yourself more anxiety or more stress because you're thinking like, I don't have something I need, this message is saying actually that's not true. You do have everything that you need. And maybe what this is referring to is everything that you need in order to continue to take care of yourself and your family. Maybe it's also, you know, something like a message that you have everything that you need to thrive financially, even in the midst of uncertainty. Maybe you have everything that you need to start your online business, or to grow your online business, or to grow your artistic, you know, creative enterprise, whatever it is. You have everything already. So this time period isn't so much about like adding more to your plate. It's actually about more going deeper with what's already there, going deeper with what you already have. And this can also be, you know, extended, of course, to the people in your household. Maybe it's a good opportunity for you to get closer in those relationships, or to show yourself and your loved ones the depth of the bond that you share. It's also, I feel, a time for you to recognize that what you actually have accomplished within yourself, as far as like education goes, or as far as opportunities that you've taken action on in the past, learning that you've done, I feel like this is a time for you to really dig into that well of experience that you have, whether it's, life experience or professional experience, and recognize that you actually are prepared. In general, you are prepared in a lot of different ways. And it's like digging into what you've already kind of grown, in yourself. There's also a touch of like gardener in every Virgo, right? And this is a time to really recognize like the garden that you have tended in your life, and to also see the value of it and see how that value can be applied perhaps in new ways. I feel that this month in April is going to be a time of assessment for you, in which you are going to actually be happy with the spoils of your labor from the past. I think that you're going to be happy with the value that you have amassed in some way. And I think that you're going to be looking at different ways to use it. And I think that you're going to feel more complete and whole somehow going into, this new chapter that we're all going through globally. I feel like you're recognizing, just the work that you've already done and working on like how you can maximize that and how you can really build on, the foundation and also continue to reach for your potential. And that may be just in a very different way than you have in the past. So let's take a look at your tarot cards and we'll get some more information. Go. Okay, so let's take a look at your Animal Spirit Oracle cards. I'm also going to pull you a Bob Ross card because I feel like this deck is just so warm and he has just such good vibes. So we've got Black Egg as the path and the Peacock as the influencing energy. Wow. It's funny, but like the way that I'm actually seeing this Peacock card is that it feels like he's kind of almost like a decorated kind of, what's the word, like a military general almost, like the expression and sort of like the feathers. Like there's something about the face that has like this stoic composure that we would associate with maybe like leadership. And this is just going totally rogue. I'm not reading this based on, keywords of the card or what the guidebook of this deck says about the Peacock energy. I feel this more in a very intuitive way. It's referring to, I feel like you are in some way, you're kind of leading through your speech. I feel like you're sort of leading other people, and I don't know who it is that you're responsible for, Virgo, or for whom you tend to at least feel within yourself some sense of responsibility for. But with the Black Egg as your path, this card is associated with the throat chakra. So it's all about self-expression, and it's all about kind of working on refining our personal truth and how we communicate that truth. So sometimes that involves setting boundaries. Sometimes that involves being quiet and silent. Sometimes that involves just speaking from a very loving and clear place. And maybe that means that we don't say anything until we're like in that place ourselves, right? Like this is about intentional communication. This is about maybe also like for some of you being an orator or a teacher or somebody who gives a speech or who leads a class or is leading like an online workshop maybe or something along those lines. With the black egg, it's like you're really tapping into the power of your voice and the power of your ability to project truth. And in a way, like our voice is our most like immediate and sort of resounding ability to emit vibration and resonance, because that is what sound is vibration and resonance. So with the black egg card coming up as your path, it's like telling me that there's something about the vibration that you're bringing this month that is really intentional and probably very healing for people, whether that's, again, you know, people in your household, people in your family, extended family, people that you're talking to on the phone, or even social media, you know, platforms along those lines. There's something like really significant about your role in this, Virgo. And I see you kind of with the peacock card being the influencing energy. I see like there's a refined quality to these two cards. We could definitely say, like, looking at this, April is a month of empowerment for you. It's a month where you can actually shine, but you'll be shining in a way that's very purposeful. It's purpose. It's your purpose, Virgo. It's like sheared. It's everything non-essential, every distraction, every piece of fluff, every affectation is sort of like sheared off. It's clean sense of purpose with everything that you're doing. And I think that this is going to culminate, obviously, in you feeling and being in a position to initiate and influence positive change. I feel like this is about you really stepping into your power in some way where you're not caring so much about what other people think about what you're doing. You're just showing up for the people who need you. You are showing the fuck up for the people that need you. And I feel like this is a very like it's a very refined, it's a refinement of like what's best about the Virgo archetype, right? It's the servant, but it's like there's like a holiness to that. There's a divinity to that archetype, right? Of like the genuine like person showing up with intention to help or to do something beneficial. So there's some kind of like, this is really a powerful reading. Let's take a look at your cards so we can get some more insight into how this may come about. Knight of Cups and the Star, the Moon, and the Knight of Wands. Wow. Two of Cups, the Tower, Four of Wands, and the Four of Cups. Interesting. So ending the month on some, you know, stable energy, it seems. So I feel that, well, you do have these three major arcana cards, which are very significant major arcana cards. And it's interesting, too, that we have 16, 17, and 18 on here. So there's definitely a lot of, I think of the Star and the Moon and the Tower in the major arcana as like three cards that really represent profound spiritual experiences, right? Like the Star is kind of the profound spiritual experience of faith. The Moon is sort of like the profound spiritual experience of the divine or the unknown. And the Tower is sort of like the profound spiritual experience of like boundaries being released, or like red tape being cut, or a security blanket being removed. It's like some kind of covering is coming off, and sometimes that is a positive experience subjectively, and sometimes it's a little shocking, and we can be like, whoa, hang on, like, wait a minute, I'm not so sure that I like this. But every time that we go through tower experience, we understand it more and more with time, and we actually usually feel grateful for the experience because it was actually like I think of the lightning bolt as sort of the voice of God kind of coming in and saying, you're not meant to live in this tiny box. Like, you need to break free. You need to break out of this. And if you're not going to break yourself out, I'm going to break you out. So that's kind of like the energy of the tower, the spiritual experience of it. So my point is, you've got cups, and you've got this wands energy, and then you have these very profound spiritual experience cards. So I think as you go through the month of April, through a spirit of giving, through a spirit of openness and open-heartedness with the Knight of Cups, like, you're ready to give something. You're ready to share something. You're wanting maybe to help somehow in the world, or you're wanting to do what you can. It's like, I'm showing up to do my part. That's the Knight of Cups energy in this particular context. Like, I'm showing up to do my part. I'm here for you. I'm here for us. And so you're entering into April with like a giving spirit somehow. And that may be manifesting in your career. For example, you might be doing extra work, like overtime, that you're not necessarily, sure about the compensation of. You might be handling and juggling a lot of different tasks to make things easier for people. If you're a business person, you might be offering some kind of gift package to your clients, or you might be, giving people a break on their payments, or, you're just like there's this like giving energy with the Knight of Cups. And this could also be you creating something to benefit others as well. Like, it doesn't mean that you're just straight up doing charity, but you're doing something that benefits you and everyone else. So there's this like very strong intention towards positivity and towards bringing some kind of healing. And this is taking you into unknown territory because you've got the star and the moon. So this is about really having faith and trusting in life. And by the time that we get to the Libra full moon on April 8th, which is actually, in your second house, that could potentially bring about some kind of change in your financial situation. It could bring about some kind of, like with the moon and the Knight of Wands around that time, and the moon card obviously showing up referring to that full moon, and the Knight of Wands there kind of adding to the mix. It could be that if you've been unclear about how you need to proceed with something financial or something having to do with your resources, I think the Knight of Wands is showing that you're getting some kind of clarity and you're really taking action with the Knight of Wands. I feel like you're kind of ready to go into the unknown. And, I want to say too, Virgo, that this is something that I see a lot in myself. I've seen in myself, I've seen in my clients, I've seen in friends, especially those who have like Virgo energy in their chart, that there's something about you that you achieve your greatest potential when you're kind of in service to other people. And so it's harder for you to really understand like what your potential really is if you are framing things as though you're doing it for you. And you should do things for yourself, and you should have a very strong, loving relationship with yourself and your self-care practices. That is absolutely essential. But just like zooming out a little bit in terms of your own natural temperament, it's usually easier for you to motivate yourself to do something if you know that somebody else is either going to benefit from it or they're relying on you to do it. And so just understanding like that aspect of the Virgoan archetype, looking at these cards and knowing that you have that full moon in Libra in your second house, it's like something clicks for you about finances or about resources or about practical actions you can take. And it's not going to benefit just you, but it will benefit you as well. And so I think that this is like you reaching your potential by entering into kind of like the unknown in a way around the second week of April, but you have the courage to do it because you know that somebody is relying on you, or you know that what you're doing is going to lift other people's spirits. Maybe you know that there's something riding on this, like, and you know that it has to do with other people, and so there's something within you that's like, I'm not gonna hold myself back. I'm not going to play small. I'm not going to withhold what I have inside of me. Like, if there's ever a time to share my gifts, it's right fucking now. Like, it's right now. Now is the time, Virgo. Now is the time. And I see that. So then you have this really beautiful Two of Cups and the Tower in this reading. The way that it comes up is the Two of Cups, and then the Tower happens. So there's a really beautiful quote from Carl Jung that I'm probably going to butcher because I don't have it in front of me. But essentially, you know, he's talking about alchemy and about when, you know, two substances in alchemy come together, there's either like a complete transformation or there's no reaction whatsoever, and the substances stay kind of separate, right? Like, molecularly speaking, they don't completely like fuse and blend. And so there's this sense with the Two of Cups when we see it coming up with the Tower. This is a reference to alchemy, I believe, in your reading. This is a reference to this idea of two different constituents, two different compounds, two different people, two different personalities coming together. And if there's any reaction at all, both of them are completely transformed. And so you could be experiencing some kind of transformation as a result of your coming into relationship with another person, or perhaps with multiple people, as in, you know, on a creative platform or on a social platform. You could be sharing something and reaching out as this person is reaching out. And then as a result of that reaching out, there is this total like blowing the lid off that happens within you psychologically and also within your life, where you feel transformed. You feel that you are giving more, and you are like touching more people, or you are expanding and experiencing more of yourself. And so I feel like there is something really powerful that you're going to be sharing. This does, you know, even like visually speaking, we could say that like the blues and the black on these cards are kind of mirroring each other with like the color scheme. So that's also a clue about the third week of April. It's going to be a really big week, and that is a time for you to put yourself out there, okay? In the third week of April, whether that's online or whether that is in relationships, there's something about really reaching out and being vulnerable that is very transformative and that deepens your awareness of life in some way. So it's very, very powerful. But where things kind of land at the end of the month is the Four of Cups and the Four of Wands. So fours for me represent stable energy. They represent security. And when we see the Four of Wands, this is like a happy home environment. And then we see the Four of Cups and we see this person kind of meditating and sort of cutting out distractions. They may also feel a little bored. So you could still, we could still, globally be in the phase of, continuing to kind of stay home more, continuing to be social distancing. If that's the case, that could be what this is referring to for the last week of April. I'm not really sure because, it's kind of far away at this point, but it could be also that there's like a completion somehow, or you could be completing a project at home, or maybe, this is a message that globally speaking, our time period of kind of staying home is beginning to open up. I'm not really sure, but either way, I think there is like some kind of completion in the home front, some kind of sense of like something to celebrate, but you may still feel a little bored or stagnant in some ways. But that's actually a good thing. Following that tower in the third week of April, I feel like you're actually going to be happy for a little bit of like peace and quiet. So definitely take care of yourself in that last week and rejuvenate. Let's take a look at your Bob Ross. So he says, We just show you how, but you make the decisions. When you have this much power, you have to make big decisions. So yeah, this to me really speaks to like the tower and the black egg and everything we've been seeing about like your role in your community. And I feel like this is about, you know, especially with the star and the moon, it's about having faith in yourself, faith that allows you to enter into the unknown, whether that unknown is kind of like the creative world that you have within you. Maybe you have a story, a fiction book that you've been really wanting to write for a long time. I know for me, one of the challenges when I get into like a fiction story that I have brewing within me is that the first draft is like, it feels like I'm very much walking into the moon, right? Because know, I don't know the landscape yet. Like I'm experiencing it for the first time. And that can be a little bit unsettling. And in the past, that did actually stop me from moving forward and completing my stories. But with the moon card here and just all of the messages that have come up, it's like you're going to feel more ready to make those big decisions and to explore unexplored territory. Maybe it's within your own mind. Maybe it's within your own creativity and your own mental landscape. Maybe it's also in sharing more of your thoughts, you know, through the internet. Through social media, through video or podcasting or different forms. But I do feel that there is like a sense of stoic leadership coming through with you, Virgo, and you're taking this fairly seriously, I would say. But I think that like you have a lot to feel good about when it comes to your perspective and like what you're showing up to kind of do and help people with. All right, Virgo, I hope this has been helpful. Please let me know in the comments if you had any epiphanies or if you had any aha moments. I would absolutely love to hear from you guys. You guys are my sweetest people. I just love reading for you every single month. So please let me know in the comments if anything in this reading connected for you. If you just want to let me know that you're still with me, definitely leave me like a little globe emoji for our global compassion and cyber hugs and companionship during these weird times. So yeah, leave me a little globe if you want, or just give this video a thumbs up. All of those things collectively really help support my channel. It helps support my videos get more views in the algorithms, and all of that also really just shows me that you are engaging with the readings and that you enjoy the content. So I would love to hear from you. I'll also put the donate button below if you'd like to donate any amount. Even just $1 is so helpful. And I send out a prayer for every donation that I receive. So thank you so much for being here, Virgo. It's sending you tons of love. If you'd like to participate in April Fool's Journey, it's a tarot challenge in April that takes us through the major arcana. I personally will be posting every day and doing Instagram live videos and Instagram TV. So if you want to follow me on there, I'll put that information below so you can follow along and participate if you'd like. Sending you tons of love. Take care, be safe and blessed, and be vital, Virgo. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.